I was bulimic at school, and then I went to a boarding sixth form college and I became anorexic. I felt really isolated and low, and then when I was actually bulimic, I wasn't losing the weight, I was gaining it. So when I went to the boarding school, I decided that I was going to make a change and go forward and make it happen, stick to my decision. I tried to discipline myself. I would only eat vegetables, very few carbs and protein, and it started to work. I would just have regular 3 meals a day, but they were restricted times, and having that control and the restriction made the difference. There was also a couple of other anorexic girls and I copied them. I used to go home at the weekends and see that the weight was dropping, and I felt amazing, and that the control that I had, I got it, and it was something that I was dying for forever. My anorexia progressed when I was in sixth form, and I was just in a horrible place. I wasn't horrendously skinny, but I was underweight, but it was more a mental thing, and because it became about obsession and compulsive and my rituals and routines, and I was just starting to lose the friends that I had. At university, I overdosed. I took a gap year. I came back for the second year, and I coped, but it was still there. It was still very much there. I lost weight very quickly and felt completely isolated, completely broken. I didn't understand it at the time, but I heard a lot of good things about LifeWorks. So I came and had my assessment and just kind of fell in love with the place. The woman that was giving me the assessment just understood, and yeah, that she just understood what I was going through and wanted to help me through. And I was literally at the point where you could tell me to stand on my head 7 times a day and I would do that if it was going to make me better. I remember feeling really lost and really, really frightened and didn't really know what to expect, but I didn't want to get my hopes up. And then I remember the big thing that happened in the second week. I was honest with my therapist. I was secretly exercising in my room and in bathrooms because I wasn't allowed to do it. And I wanted to tell him, but then I didn't want to tell him. And then when I did, he said that if you do carry on doing this and we find out, then you will be asked to leave. And I remember being unbelievably angry and upset and confused, and I thought, it's only a few push-ups, a few sit-ups, a few leg lifts. What's the matter with that? But then thinking about it, he probably did save my life by doing that, because with my illness, even if you cling on to that little element of control, it just comes back. And so it was almost like a massive weight was just lifted from my shoulders. The thing that sent shivers down my spine was when people were talking about a black hole. And it was almost like they understood, because when I was younger, I actually drew a picture with this black hole, and it just kind of hit home. And I remember after I broke up with my first boyfriend that I was sitting in my playroom and I was just hugging my knees and crying and shaking, and my mum comes in and says, what's wrong? What's going on? And I was just like, I just don't know what to do. I can't feel this. And she said, well, do you want a cup of tea or something? And to actually have somebody here that understands what you're going through, it was just amazing. And what people were saying was making sense. When they were talking about inferiority complexes, not feeling good enough, fearful of life and responsibilities, and I just understood. One-to-one stuff was really where I could just cry, and I cried a lot. And in group sessions you can cry, but when you're one-to-one, you don't feel like you're burdening anybody. And it was really therapeutic because I kind of just needed that space to say I'm not okay, and to be honest with myself that I wasn't okay, and just have someone to listen to me. Art therapy was a big thing for me as well. It brought out a lot of my perfectionism. And when we were in the art class, he would say, okay, let's stop now and let's process it. And I'd be like, no, I've not finished yet. And everybody used to laugh at me because it kind of showed to me that I did have to have this control, and I couldn't just let it be. I loved it, and I still do. I've been back a couple of times to share and dropping people off, and it's weird. It feels like coming back to a birthplace. It's just really comfortable and at home and a lovely garden, and it's not like being in a hospital. I do have a life that I used to dream about, and that dream was going out for pizza with friends and not having to worry, and being at home with the family and just having a roast dinner, being a normal family. And at the time, that just seemed like such a far-off prospect. It was a 1 in a million chance that it was going to happen, but it's only been a year and I'm doing that stuff already. And that's a really weird thing for me to get my head around. But if you give it a chance, you don't have anything to lose.